Assalamu alaikum, welcome back everyone. So this is our blog engine tutorial series, right? So in last episode we have created post service, I guess so, but that was not completed, right? Let me give it a run. So it's saying that unable to resolve service of type blog engine dot business interface. This service is not has no implementation attached to this interface, right? So that's fine, totally fine. So what we can do is let's remove the reference from here, right? Let me remove that one and comment out this one from here, and let's again try control F5 and see what it says. It should probably give the same error because we haven't removed the injection from the controller constructor, right? And now it should be fine, right? So that was the final view last time of our blog engine. So I was thinking about let's add the data layer in our solution so that we can link that data layer ultimately to this service layer, because service layer is nothing but just our business logic against our database, or if we want to fetch any other data from any other service provided. So let's add another folder here, and let me add a solution folder. Let me call it like let's say data, right? Because that will be totally related to our database and anything regarding the fetching and updating database, right? So let's add another project inside that data, and let me select .NET okay, net standard. Okay, we should pick net standard if we can find one here, and that is net standard class library, right? So I will double click this one and I will name it like something like what was the name we have given, blog engine dot data, and let's say these are models, data models, or it would be better if we give it name like entities, right? And this not really, let's give it a name like model bit, because we may try to add the DTO models as well, which don't belong to our TV context, but we need them. And let's add another folder here, this for the same mapping. Let's add, okay, I think we already had one already with the same name, and all right, that was that was the dummy one we had at that time. Here in this, I just removed that one, right? And let me pick the same, the data folder, and inside that this project will be created, right? Let's create it inside there, and in this folder, in this project, let's add a folder of entities, right? And it's better to delete that default class, and let's add another model here. Let's call it post. All right, and that's it, and make it public like this, right? And here we are going to add some properties like ID, the standard one, right? And what does a post have? Usually, so post to have a title, right? And string, sorry, the title should be of type string. We'll decide later what should be the contents, content size. We will apply those limits later, but let's add generic properties here. Let's add another property like content and like this. And why not, let's create a base property as well, base entity, right? And this base entity will be having all those generic properties like date time created on, right? And by the way, you guys must know that .NET 5 has been released already, I think in last month. And guess what, I am planning to update this solution on .NET 5 because it's currently on .NET Core 3.0, I guess. Let me have a quick look. I think I had worked on this solution couple of months back. Okay, this is already on 3.1 and the next version is .NET 5. I already had set up that SDK into the system, but we will create a separate episode to upgrade this solution on .NET 5, and we'll see how easy or difficult is that. Alright, so let's add another property like make sure the record is active or not, and to other properties like date time deleted on, right? And public bool is deleted. There is a lot of confusion whenever I do code is about should that be isolated or hasolated, but forget that thing right now, and let's complete our base architecture because it's already too late about this specific series. So let's complete that one, and then we will apply those standard things on that solution. It should be extend from base entity, right, to make sure we have all those generic properties in this specific table. So a post ideally have an ID, title, content, and okay, we will decide later on how we are going to manage the tags, right? All the tags are very important, but we will add those tags later on. All right, so yeah, I think that's fine for now. So that was our entities, and let's add another project to make sure we are creating the DB context here, right? Okay, so that should be again the same class library for net standard, and we will name it engine.data. What should be the name again? Repository. repository, let's say it should be the repositories, and let's select the data folder again and hit the create button, and it's created. And another project to maintain the interfaces for our entities, because we are going to inject those interfaces into our services without exposing our data context directly. And let's see how it works. So next thing is login data.faces, right? And again we are going to select the same data folder here, right? Awesome. Let me remove all those default classes, right? Okay, so if you can see, let me minimize this tree view, and let's see, we have now interface project, model project, and repositories project, right? And let's add interfaces first into our interfaces folder, and let's what should be the name for that folder? Let's say, I think we don't need the folder for, because it's obvious that this project will only contain the interfaces for our data section or data module. So let's add straight away a new item that should be an interface, and let's call it iPost repository, right? That will allow us to access the post from the DB context. All right, and it should be public, right away. So, and the next thing, we will make sure that alright, so and this post should be extending another interface, right, to make sure we have all those CRUD functions available for each and every repository, because we are not going to copy paste all those generic common functions for every interface. So let's add another interface, and let's name it iGeneric repository, right? Let's add it, and let me add, and it will going to it is a kind of generic interface, so it should be having entity and key, right? Entity is what entity it is, like we have a post entity here right now, only one entity, and the ID of that entity, right? Because we are going to perform all those generic functions against these two, because we should know the name and we should know the key, right? So let's add a kind of task on entity. Okay, let's, because entity is going to be very entity is kind of very generic term, so let's make it T entity, right, to make sure we are not confusing with other classes or interfaces inside our solution. So first method should be, as we all know, get async, which will going to give us everything right, all the records in the database, right? Okay, so why not let's only have this function and let's try to complete our implementation around this, and we will add other generic functions later on, right? So let's go on and make sure we are extending this one from generic repository, and we are providing post like this, and the key should be the interface. So that was it for today's video. See you in the next episode. Till then, bye bye.